the word smart. So you said you went to Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college. You didn't go to Delaware State. You graduated either the lowest or almost the lowest in your class. Don't ever use the word smart with me. Don't ever use that word.
Oh, give me a break.
Because you know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe.
Across this country, we've seen this new phenomenon lately, chanted at sporting events and on signs. The phrase is "Let's go Brandon," a sort of code for a profane slogan attacking President Biden.
Running against the worst candidate in the history of presidential politics puts pressure on me. Can you imagine if I lose my whole life? What am I going to do? I'm going to say, I lost to the worst candidate in the history of politics. I'm not going to feel so good. Maybe I'll have to leave the country. I don't know.
That isn't what it meant.
Well, what did it mean then? Explain.
It meant that it's indicative of low-resolution thinking.
I eat extra sharp, that's what I eat. I eat extra sharp, that's what I eat. I eat extra sharp, that's extra sharp, that's what I eat. I eat extra sharp, that's extra sharp, that's what I eat. I eat extra sharp, extra sharp, that's extra sharp, that's what I eat. I eat extra sharp, extra sharp, that's extra sharp, that's what I eat. I eat extra sharp, extra sharp, that's extra sharp, that's what I eat. You know.
$7 million for reef fish management, $25 billion to combat Asian carp, $2.5 million to count the number of amberjack fish in the Gulf of Mexico. I don't wear masks like him. Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away from me, and he shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen.
Everybody digging my chili, what I'm laying down, that is not true.
Get your words straight, Jack.
In case you don't know, and you haven't seen the latest polls, the American people hold the President of the United States in contempt. They hold this institution in contempt. They hold the Republican Party in contempt. They hold the Democratic Party in contempt. They think that maybe.
I liked beer. I still like beer. But I did not drink beer to the point of blacking out.
Hello, users, and welcome to another episodic installation. Throughout the entire introductory experience, I neglected to actually set up the stream. Normally I'm setting the stream up, but I didn't do that, so I'm doing it now. Anyone see the movie 1408 with John Cusack, right? It's the, isn't that a Stephen King one? It's got John Cusack, it's the hotel room. Yeah, that's a good one. I like it, I like the style of filmmaking with the unreliable narrator, and you don't know, if the world itself is crazy, or if, the main character is the crazy one, you know? It's, a really good kind of vibe. I do enjoy it. So you sound quiet and distant because you suck at being professional. I just suck in general. In general, I'm just not that great of a person. But especially when it comes to being professional, not gonna happen. Not good, folks. Hold up. Let me consult the sound drop here.
No good. No good.
There you go. See? I didn't say it. Unreliable narrator stories done right are awesome. One of the favorites that I've seen recently is Memento. I saw Memento a couple months ago, and that's probably one of the best of that genre that I've seen. Maxie! We got a dog here, folks. Maxie! He doesn't know what to do. He's got the eggplant. Max, no! He's got the... Did y'all see that? This dog just came in here, stole that eggplant. Didn't even say hello. Alright, dog. Wow. What a dog. What a dog. What a dog. That's one doggy dog. So yeah, I'm doing today's show early because I want more continuous time to do some other stuff later today that I need to take care of in my personal life. I've got a life that's personal. And it exists, and I got there's a lot of shit I gotta do, so I'm dying. Oh god. So I wanted to come on and do a quick show. It's not gonna be terribly long. You need a nap? Well, I just woke up, Sarah, so I could use a nap as well, so I don't know. You had to watch the DVD, Catherine. You goddamn loser. What are you watching on streaming services? We all know streaming services are trash. Paladin, what's Memento? Memento is a fantastic motherfucking movie about someone who's got basically some sort of illness where they can't remember anything past the specific event. and so they live their whole life without any memory. And so what that means is they like talk to the same people over and over again. Like the day-to-day memory is 0%, right? So what they do is they write things down and they like tattoo themselves to like remind themselves of things. The thing I love about Memento is that like it reminds me of doing magic mushrooms like a lot. Like very often there's this headspace that you find yourself in when you're on shrooms. Where like you don't know that you like, sometimes I forget that I took shrooms and I'm just like walking around the house and I'm like, wow, there's a lot going on right now. So like, you know, like it reminds me of that because one time I sometimes when I like to do shrooms, I keep like a little notebook around me and I write down things that I do in order so that like, you know, like if I just use the bathroom, sometimes like I will need to use the bathroom or think I need to use the bathroom. And then I look at my notebook and I'm like, right, I just did that 5 minutes ago. I'm I'm fine. I'm good to go. And so, but like, you know, sometimes, you know, when I'm doing that, I had this one experience where it's like I was writing things down out of order. Like it was like one of those things where it was like the trip was ending, right? But like I was remembering details, right, of like the experience while I was laying in bed, but they were like so vivid that it felt like I was really experiencing the memory of those details. So I remember like writing things in my notebook that like, and I remember reading things in my notebook or knowing that something was there, but it wasn't there like and it was really strange. I don't know if I'm describing that. I don't know if I'm describing that at all. I don't know. You'd have to, like, it's one of those things, if you don't know what mushrooms feel like, it's hard to describe. But for those of you that are familiar with that headspace, I've been there. And Memento reminds me of it. The Memento condition was based on a real person. Absolutely. I've heard cases of that. Where people can't input new memories. There's been a couple people that have been identified with that after having like brain trauma, or like I think there's like, you know, they go through like a car accident or something and it fucks their brain up, and so like one part of their brain doesn't work well, and it's like the ability to write new memories is gone. But yeah, Memento, must watch. I would say Memento is a must-watch. If you want to, like, know what, like, for me, Memento is, like, it's very reminiscent of doing mushrooms. And that's why I like it so much. But anyway, let's do some news here. And by news, I mean it's 13 degrees centigrade in the windy harbor town of Elizabeth City, North Carolina, which is where I currently reside. As of this current moment in time, I am here at the great time of 9:15 a.m. I am here to present to you the news of Elizabeth City, and that's right. Hold the goddamn. I don't know, man. Inception's pretty good. That's the same guy, right? I'm pretty sure. $2.24. We'll get back into which one's better, because I can go in depth having seen those movies. Well, actually, I've only seen Memento once, but I've seen Inception like 5 times. But anyway, let's go in. Yesterday was the 224th, I believe, day. Is that true? 224th, I believe, day of protests in the city of Elizabeth City, North Carolina, in the county of Pasquotank County, North Carolina. For those of you that don't know, the county has a higher amount of power than the city when it comes to the county sheriff department. Sheriffs are elected by not a lot of people know this, so I thought I'd throw this in here. Sheriffs are elected at the county level. And because they're elected at the county level, that means that they have more power than the city. So the city government basically can do nothing about the county government because the city is within the county. It's a lesser amount of power. And so the Pasquotank County Board of Commissioners could choose to enact their power and, place sanctions on the Sheriff's Department for murdering Andrew Brown Jr. They refused to do so. In fact, instead of putting any sanctions on the murderers who killed Andrew Brown Jr., shot him in the back of the head while he was escaping, they instead gave them a raise. That's right, they gave the hired assassins more money. Just a few months after Andrew Brown Jr. was executed, they authorized a raise, a salary increase to the entirety of the Pasquotank County Sheriff's Department. So not only are they not going to pretend to have any accountability, they're going to give them more money. And that's why I want to be very clear. I know a lot of times I kind of make fun of the fact that they wrote Black Lives Matter on the street. Is that better than nothing? Well, it depends how you classify better. It is literally, it's just they just drew on the street. But the city government is what did that. The city government of Elizabeth City drew Black Lives Matter on the street. They have no power over the county government, which includes the sheriff's department, but they wanted to try to do something. Now, I would say instead of raising property taxes on poor people that live in Elizabeth City, which is what they did very recently, they're also engulfed in scandals when it comes to their own police department and all that stuff, but that's a whole nother story. But I would say instead of raising property taxes, how about, I don't know, maybe do some progressive legislation for the people that live in the city of Elizabeth City. They refuse to do so. I think the city government's corrupt. A lot of people have been resigning, actually, from the city council, and that's very interesting. But again, I want to be very clear because I do talk about the distinction between the county and the city often in these videos, and there are not that many people, I guess, that understand the distinction. The county is where the sheriff is an elected, member of, that has very large amounts of power. The city has no power. The county board has power over the sheriff's department when it comes to the purse. They can dictate how much money they get. And so that's why I clarify that the Pasquotank County Board voted to increase the salaries of the Pasquotank County Sheriff's Department murderers after killing Andrew Brown Jr. I think it's very important to understand how power works in this instance, right? Now, meanwhile, the city is drawing Black Lives Matter on the street. They're not properly paying the people who are doing it, by the way. There was a big scandal with that. The people that were actually drawing Black Lives Matter on the street were not being properly compensated. That's a huge scandal. But again, the Pasquotank County Board of Commissioners actually being in cahoots and paying the assassins, I think, is a bigger scandal. And that's what I want to focus on in this recap video. Because again, isn't it crazy? So Andrew Brown Jr. is murdered, executed, shot in the back of the head, right? The district attorney, right, says, quote, "We couldn't let him get away." Interesting. And then, after the hit goes through, the Board of Commissioners gives them a raise, gives them more money, a payout. Some would, possibly interpret that as a payout. So let me get the order of operations here. So Andrew Brown Jr. is murdered. Andrew Womble, the district attorney, says couldn't let him get away. It was not possible. And then, after he was murdered, couldn't let him get away, the people that murdered him got some money in exchange. Isn't that interesting? To me, again, it sounds like they're paying off an assassin, and it sounds like they were in cahoots. It sounds like they were part of the problem and that they were all conspiring to kill Andrew. Because again, we can all admit killing someone is bad, right? Shouldn't it be like a public relations nightmare to give more money to people who just killed someone? Like, if I were working, right, at McDonald's and then I killed someone who came in and wanted a Big Mac and I just jumped over the counter and pulled out like a gun and shot their head off, would the manager of McDonald's then want to give me paid vacation, and then like the corporate board of McDonald's, like the franchise owners, then would all wouldn't it be weird if they all gave me more money? Wouldn't that be weird? So again, think about this though. With cops, people just think it's normalized. Oh, they kill people, they get more money. It's all, it's government bureaucracy. But again, okay, I'm working at Wendy's. I shoot someone's head off. I pull out a chainsaw and I rip their body parts apart. And then I get paid vacation. And then the board gives me more money. What? Unheard of. But when you're a cop, it's commonplace. You get paid to kill people all the time. In fact, that's your job description. The role of police in the United States of America is to cull the population of undesirables. People that they feel like are troublemakers. They go in, kill them, come up with an excuse to justify the killing, and then later get their payout. And that's exactly what happened here. And this shit's fucked up, folks. This shit's fucked up. But again, we've been out here for 224 days, and yesterday we had all the seniors come out, and we marched around downtown. We were really loud, and I love to see old people. I love we have this great relationship here, but I love to see the old folks come out, and they're like they've got that energy. It's not every day. Like I could do this every day, but it's fun to see. The passion, because again, someone's got to care. Because if we don't care, then no one cares, and they can successfully brush this bullshit under the rug, just like national media has helped them do, just like local media has helped them do, because no one gives a fuck. At the end of the day, people can get gunned down all day, every day. No one gives a fuck. No one's going to do anything that puts any change. No one's going to try to enact any change. People are going to maybe pretend to try for a couple months and then give up because it's too exhausting to be an activist and then go back to their real jobs, because that's how this economy works. It drains you of all energy at all times. It makes you have no energy whatsoever left over to do things that would actually better the society that we live in. That's how our society is manufactured. We have to try to live outside of those boxes and boundaries. And so that's why I advocate, doing all this stuff. So again, 224 days, that's a lot. And I'm proud to be a part, for sure. Maxie! Max! See if this dog comes back. Maxie! Look at him! Look at him! He's Max the dog! Wow! Woo! Woo! Maxie! Max the doggy! Oh! Why? Look at him! He's such a dog! Look at him! This dog, without this dog, I'd be dead right now, let me tell you. This dog saves my goddamn soul every day. Look at him. This dog last night was being a cuddle monster. He would not leave me the fuck alone. Like, even after I went to sleep, right? Even after I went to sleep, he would be a cuddle monster. He would wake me up in the middle of the night, put his paw on my face. And I'd be like, Max, why? Why do you want to put your paw on my face? Why, Max? Oh my God, why, Max? Alright, he's had enough. I don't know. Dogs are emotional creatures. But he's a cuddle monster, so. Anyway, let's move on. There's been some very shocking developments. There's been developments that I want to talk about in the drama field. In the drama field, there's been some developments. Some would even say that they're shocking. Shocking developments in the world of dramatization. That's right, folks. We're talking about Vaush and Kyle Kulinski. That's right. They had a conversation. I don't know why Kyle doesn't come on my show. That's weird, right? What do I got to do to get Kyle Kulinski on my show? That's what I'm wondering. But everyone, this is where it starts. You got to send the emails, send the tweets, get this motherfucker on my show. I'd love to pick his brain. But anyway, so my fellow seltzer drinking ski went on Vaush's stream, and they had a conversation about Jimothy Dore. And it's very enlightening, and I think this is very fun to watch. So I want to watch this, and I want to react in real time. So we have a 2-minute clip. Let's go in.
Jimmy's politics. So what I've seen is there was a time when he would mostly criticize Democrats, and you got the sense it was from the left, and it was to improve them. Then, over time, it slowly creeped up from like, okay, 70% of your commentary is going after the Democrats, 30% is going after the Republicans. Now it's like 80-20. Now it's like 90-10. And then it got to like 100% of the commentary is just like Democrats are bad. Now, if you have a platform, you have to realize, even if you think it's like, well, duh, the Republicans are bad, there might be some 14-year-old coming to your channel who doesn't think that's a duh, and all they see is you shitting on Democrats. And then you're sort of painting a
like, now again, my thing is like, I don't care about the 14-year-old, right? Like, that's my thing. But I love how Kyle's doing a, oh, think of the children argument. I find that fascinating because he's not usually that kind of guy that would be like, oh, think of the children, you know? And so, but, you know, I think of the children. Like, what if a 14-year-old watches Jimmy Dore? I mean, that in and of itself, irrespective of what commentary Jimmy's giving, a 14-year-old watching Jimmy Dore, that's going to be one fucked up 14-year-old. But let's continue.
Misleading picture of the world. And then when it really got to a point where it was like, this is just sad now, is when the vaccine skepticism stuff started happening. That's when
So I gotta be honest, I still watch Secular Talk every once in a while, when I got nothing to do. I know people, you know, just bear with me here. And I'm very, like, impressed by how no nonsense he is on vaccines. I do appreciate that. I feel like for whatever reason, like, people in left-wing YouTube media are afraid to talk about it in that kind of no-nonsense way. So I do appreciate Kyle's attitude on vaccination. Again, he agrees with me in that instance where if you don't get vaccinated, you're a fucking moron. And people that are pushing this vaccine skepticism is fucking stupid. But then Kyle's going to talk about when Jimmy was caught basically covering things up and lying and altering news articles. Now, again, personally, I don't think he has a producer. I want to throw that out there. I think Jimmy doesn't have a producer. I think it's like it was his wife or one of his friends or whatever. They sent him that. He doesn't read the article. That's true either way. He doesn't read the article. He doesn't know what the article was trying to say. Right, that I think is really funny as well. But I also don't think he has a producer. But anyway, let's keep going.
I saw the things on Twitter where it was like, here's his most recent however many videos, and like 60% of them or some shit were just like doubting the vaccine. And when I saw that, I was like, well, it's a good thing that all my ties are severed with everybody.
Can we talk about this real quick? And this is off topic. But for those of you that have seen Kyle Kalinski's like home office set, what is this thing where he's got the map of the world behind him? Like, I'm sorry, man, but that is like he's had that for like 5 years or something. I've watched this guy for a while, right? I never understood the map of the world. Like, you're gonna have one thing prominently displayed on your show behind you, right? And it's a map of the world. Like, what is that? Like, is that like, oh, like every time I'm like sitting in my office, like pondering the depths of foreign policy and, you know, geopolitics, I always spin my chair around and study the map of the world. But like I'm just trying, I'm sorry, I'm off topic here. But the map of the world in the background is something I will never find it to be not fascinating, because it is fascinating.
Buddy, because I do not want to be associated with that in any way, shape, or form. One of the things that is just inescapable is the shit that Sean caught Jimmy doing. Mm-hmm. And I will say this. Maybe I'm naive. Maybe you're right about how I'm like too kind in how I read people. But when I saw that, I was like, I cannot believe that Jimmy did this shit. No matter what interpretation you want to give of the situation, either, you know, the idea that he himself, you know, was the one who spliced up the article to change the literal meaning to the opposite of what it was, whether he did that or you believe the kinder interpretation that his producer did that and he just didn't read through the article and he goes out there and whichever interpretation you believe, either fucking way, totally inexcusable. Completely inexcusable. There's just not even remotely a good argument for anti-vax shit. And so my tolerance for that is so thin. And so when I saw that thing, the Sean thing, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, man. You want to talk about you lost the plot. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
So anyway, Kyle Kalinski, folks, has finally jumped off of the fucking train. God damn. I remember when, do you remember when he released this like 2-hour long epic or something? where he was talking about like the Jimmy Dore TYT fiasco, and he was like bending over backwards to not make Jimmy Dore upset, but then he slightly criticized one thing he did, and then Jimmy made a video trashing Kyle. Do you remember that? The Kyle's a cuck saga. I think Kyle is trying to, like, I think he realizes where the tides are going way later than he should have, right? Like, wait, like, my God, right? Like, you're, like, is it December 2nd, 2020? Or no, it's actually December 2nd, 2021, right? Like, if he would have done this exact clip 1 year ago, that would have been, all right, Kyle, you know, it's a good timing, right? Because that's when a lot of people, including myself, were starting to, like, really take notice of how fucking deranged Jimmy Dore was going. But again, a year late, all right. But again, this saga actually continues. It's a saga that continues, and I wanted to talk about how the saga continues, because it's a saga that continues, and it's great. So Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks saw this clip and wanted to weigh in. And so this to me is just, it's just entertainment. This is just entertainment. It's entertaining. It's fun to watch. There's no like, oh, and here's my complex analysis of the world. I don't have any of that. This is just fun. This is fun for you. This is fun for me. So let's engage. Okay. Kyle also just figured out that there's no Santa Claus. Yo, I'm done. Already off the bat, that's good. I didn't know he was this dense, and then it would take him years to figure out the obvious. Now again, Cenk and Kyle co-founded Justice Democrats, right? These are people that are friends. This is like, these are friends. And I really do hope that Kyle can, like, you know, fix that behind the scenes. But again, let's keep going. This is great. I'm waiting for everyone who equated this low-life grifter, Dore, to us and equivocated about us, who was right to offer their apologies. Now again, Kyle did this grand hour and a half or something long epic. Like, it's an epic, like it's a feature-length film that he posted on his YouTube channel, where he was trying to say that Jimmy Dore and TYT are both equally silly or something, and that, you know, Jimmy's not that bad or whatever. Again, he uploaded a feature-length film. I reviewed it on my channel. Go watch. But it gets even better. So some guy on Twitter, Blarney Cereal, asks, why so mean to Kyle? All right, you know, you don't pay attention to these things too often. You need the lore. You need the backstory. So that makes sense. So Cenk gives us some backstory. Cenk says, the dumbass, that's Kyle, apologized to Jimmy in the middle of the original controversy because Jimmy didn't feel like Kyle had sufficiently kissed his ass. Kyle was so wrong. He thought we were the bad guys. Inexcusable. And we never got an apology once he pulled his head out of his ass. Whoa. So again, I enjoy watching this, but at the end of the day, what my takeaway is Kyle is obviously, he found himself in a really shitty situation to his own perspective, right? And he probably panicked, and he probably didn't know what to do. Like, if this is one of those things where it's not a public controversy, no one cares, right? You wouldn't have that kind of pressure. But, like, again, when you're in public, you know that there's a certain percentage of your audience that are Jimmy Dumbo Dore people. And again, who knows how many people Kyle's going to lose from his audience from this, right? This is going to have a, you know, again, people are going to see this and they're going to unsubscribe from Kyle, and he's known that. And he feels like he's in this position where he wants to be friends with everybody, and he's like socially anxious, and he doesn't know what to do, so his best plan is to do nothing. I feel it. You know, it happens. And so, but like, again, we're in this position where it's like, it's in public, you know, and it's like, it's hard to do that in public. And then especially, like, again, you know, when someone's sexually harassing your other supposed friend and you're sitting in the middle going like, I don't know. Like, Cenk and Anna have a right to be upset at him. And I hope they figure it out. I hope they fix it. Because I think that's just best for everyone in the end. But again, Cenk's comments on this were really fucking funny. And so I wanted to go into that because again, it's, can you believe it? Like, Force the Vote was a year ago? Folks, Force the Vote was a year ago. Can we talk about that? Can we talk about the fact that Force the Vote was a fucking year ago? My God.
Force the Vote, sure, was a failure.
Lord have mercy. Kyle is dead to me. Well, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. I think, to me, Kyle's a complicated case. Because to me, he screams like somewhat regular person. Like, he's got a lot of these, like, really, like, Dumbo, like, you know, shit, like, in your head kind of takes. But, like, also, I've seen him admit that he's wrong, like, several times, and this is just the next in that line of thing. And, like, you never see someone like Jimmy Dore admit that they're wrong. Like, I mean, like, that's the thing. So, I think it's good to admit that you're wrong. I'm not gonna, like, you know, bully someone, you know, when they're admitting that they're wrong too much. I mean, I'll bully them a little bit, right? Like, I think Cenk's amount of bullying is where I agree with that. Like, bully him a little bit, you know, tell him what he went wrong with and try to provide a path for him to, like, you know, not be such a loser. But again, I just wanted to comment on that. He absolutely needs to apologize. Like, it's one of those things where he thought he could just, like, you know, just go in the trenches and then come out when all the guns are stopping shooting at each other. But it clearly did not work out that way. Oh, man. All right, what else do we got to talk about this morning? So, there's a photograph that was taken on Twitter of Bernie Sanders with the famous winter coat. And so I just wanted to share this photo. I think this is something that everyone can look at and just instantly feel better. So that's Bernie Sanders 2021 winter coat colorized. That's what we're dealing with here. So, and he's, you know, he's alive, he's existing, and he's been photographed. So, just throwing that out there. You know, a little bit of a palate cleanser. We all need that kind of stuff. Waits for cheese delivery. Oh my God. Oh, this is in the For You tab. The Google algorithm is really learning a lot about me, and I'm not sure if that's a good thing. But either way, I'm going to cover this. This is an opinion piece or whatever. I don't know what it is. It said it's an opinion. But let's cover this, and then I'm going to get the fuck out of here. All right, cool. People are microdosing psychedelics to improve well-being during the pandemic. Oh, look at that. This is in the For You tab on Google News. They know what's going on. The pandemic has seen a shift towards recreational drug users taking tiny doses of psychedelics such as LSD and magic mushrooms to improve their well-being and mental health, a leading addiction expert has said. People were microdosing to self-medicate rather than following the trend popularized in Silicon Valley of consuming small amounts of psychedelics to enhance creativity. Prof. Adam Winstock, the founder and director of Global Drug Survey, said. There's a dog here, folks. The 2021 survey found that among these respondents who both microdosed and took psychiatric drugs, almost half reported reducing or stopping the prescribed medication. Winstock, a London-based consultant psychiatrist and addiction medicine specialist, said the findings suggested people have been experimenting with microdosing during the pandemic, perhaps due to increased waiting times for mental health services. That's something that I've experienced with my healthcare stuff, is that when the pandemic first started, like, I couldn't get an appointment to save my goddamn, right? And so, like, I'm not on any, like, anti-anxiety or anti-depression medication, but if I were, that would put me in a bad spot. And again, like, I am trans, right? So I have hormone medication. The idea of having to go 3 weeks without hormones because the doctor can't see me and sign the piece of paper or whatever, that's ridiculous, right? Like, people's health was destroyed throughout especially the start of the pandemic, like, because there was just not enough staff. And we live in a system where, like, you're not trusted with drugs, right? I mean, for me, again, like, I'm, trans and I have hormones, right? So I'm not on these anti-anxiety, but in a lot of ways, like, for my mood and stuff, the medication that I take is very important. So, like, having to go weeks without it because of the doctor, like, the medical system doesn't trust you to have, like, a 2-year-long supply, like, at all times. They, like, try to wean you out, like, like, oh yeah, we're gonna give you 3 months at a time, and then, like, and to get another script, you need to, like, do, like, this survey obstacle course, jump through the fucking flaming hoop, and then go through the little fucking tube like a dog, and then, like, crouch under the bullshit. You gotta do an obstacle course every time you need a prescription refilled. And that's another thing with anti-anxiety. Like, imagine a system where, yeah, we want to reduce your anxiety, so we're going to have you take a test every 2 to 3 months, and we're going to ask you a lot of personal questions, and we're going to make it so that if you don't do this test on time, that you can't get your pills, so that you worry about not having pills, and then when you call us, we're not going to answer the phone, and then when you call us, we're not going to set up an appointment, and then when you have an appointment, we're going to cancel your appointment last minute. Again, the medical system does not work well with the concept of anti-anxiety. Like, I'm just saying, if you've ever dealt with healthcare in the United States, and again, I'm not trying to suggest anyone do anything, but me personally, I would rather not have anti-anxiety medication if I had to go through all these fucking hoops. Like, if I had to, like, jump through the flaming hoop, if I had to, like, fucking jump out of a 3-story window onto a trampoline and then into the pickup truck bed, and then, like, do, like, 13 somersaults into, like, and answer, like, a fucking pop quiz. That's what you gotta do in the healthcare system in America, and that shit sucks. So people have been trying to take matters into their own hands. And so, myself included, I've done a lot of microdosing experiments over the last couple of, the last year. But anyway, the report also found people are experimenting with a wide variety of psychedelics. About a third of those who microdose with LSD or magic mushrooms reported also trying other substances, including ecstasy, ketamine, a dissociative anesthetic, and ayahuasca, a strong hallucinogenic plant cocktail revered by indigenous faith healers. While a tripping dose of LSD is about 100 micrograms, ambitious tech workers from Silicon Valley have eulogized the effects of taking 10 to 20 micrograms every few days on their creativity and productivity with people in the UK, reporting doing so for similar reasons. I will also say, from personal experience, I'm not trying to say anyone do anything, I've come up with a lot of interesting show ideas while doing, I don't know, I don't like the term microdose in popular culture because, like, it really is, like, there's a lot of variability here. Like, I would say that there is, like, very similar value in doing a small dose versus a micro dose, like a small dose being, like, slightly more in the realm of you're going to feel things. A micro dose is more of, like, you don't feel anything, but it's, like, subconscious. A small dose, like a miniature dose, is, like, you do feel things, but it's also very subconscious at the same time, but it's, like, slightly conscious, I think that there's distinctions, and also everyone's body weight and their metabolism and what they've eaten in the last 24, like, there's, like, I don't know, doses for me are really hard to measure out. Anyway, in the past, people were using microdosing for performance enhancement and creativity. Now I think people are shifting towards using microdosing to enhance well-being and address mental health distress, and I think that's super cool. So we got a chart here. Psychedelic drugs, drug use grew worldwide for several years, but has declined during the pandemic. Again, another thing here that's a distinction is, using drugs without their, like, necessarily intended purpose. Like, a lot of people historically have been seeing psychedelics as like, oh shit, I'm going to take drugs and I'm going to trip out, right? Dosage is an important tool, right? It's like having one drink versus getting shit-faced and waking up in an alley somewhere, right? There are different things that happen when you do different doses. And with psychedelics, these things are, it's night and day. I would say that a small dose or a microdose is an entirely, like, it's like might as well be a separate drug compared to a maximalist dose. And that's the thing that's really incredible to me about this stuff. And I'm glad more people are doing this, or thinking about doing these things, and maybe trending away from doing the bigger doses and more into experimenting with smaller doses. Because I think experimenting with your consciousness and yourself is something that's very interesting. I think that everyone should experiment with their consciousness in any way that they see fit and that they're comfortable with. And so I just wanted to talk about this. Of the 14,000 respondents who reported using cannabis, 42% said they less frequently shared a joint, vape, pipe, or bong with others during the pandemic. So that's an interesting tidbit. But there you go, folks. The pandemic has seen some interesting trends shift. We've also seen this in the real world with lots of cities decriminalizing psychedelics recently and all that stuff. I think the world is trending in a good direction on that. But anyway, that's going to be the show for today. Thank you all for watching. I do appreciate it. I am going to go do some stuff, including but not limited to using the bathroom. So I gotta go. Sorry for no actual ending, but I gotta use the bathroom. So there you go.